Hello everyone, welcome to the shop, welcome to THM. I'm your host, The Honest Mechanic, and I also want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. I don't know, there's probably a few holidays I'm missing in there. If I do, I apologize, but it is a time of giving, so I'm going to be giving my car an oil change today. Because I'm that kind of nerd. I do a lot of, mechanical stuff, and some people give gifts to their loved ones, some people give gifts to their pets. Well, I give my car an oil change during this time of year because that's usually how it just ends up. Anyways, let's get this up in the air and get started. All right, so the nice thing about Mercedes is there's actually a nice pad underneath, and I'll show you once we're underneath the car. But we're gonna line all that up, bring all this down. Oh no, I'm like way over here, so I gotta bring this back a little bit. Okay, let's push it. So I guess while I'm in here, it's probably a good idea to open up the hood now, because I'm probably gonna forget, and the car is gonna be in the air. Oh, and I also gotta set this up. Roll this down. This car does not like having a door open and the ignition on. Come on. Ah, key not detected. There you go. How about now? Release parking brake. Oh my. Come on, a few more inches. That's all I need. Turn on the ignition. I'm trying. Remove. What the heck? Now I'm locked. I just locked my car. Good thing I had the window open because I can reach the... What is going on? This thing's probably going to freak out now. Every time I do this, it's always a struggle. I think I got it. Transmission on a park. And then, did it just apply the park brake? I'm going to have to cut out some of this stuff because this is going to take me like 10 minutes to just roll it back. Oh, it's rolling. Woo! That's a win. Everyone watching this video is like, what's this guy doing? Well, that was a bit of a struggle, so we're ready to go up now. Hopefully that was entertaining, because I tried. Anyways, moving on to the oil change. I'm going to try something different this time, because I was talking with a mechanic buddy of mine, and he was telling me that when he changes the oil on his Volkswagen, which has the same setup for the oil filter, he recommended to replace the oil filter first. And the reason he said that was because oil from the canister or from the filter housing fell back into the oil change that he had just done, because he had dumped the oil first, filled it up, then went ahead and put the new filter in. But when he removed the housing, for us it's back here, a little bit of oil dripped into the fresh oil. He thought that was a bad thing. So let's remove it, see if it actually glugs down. So what you need to do this is a 27 mil socket and an extension. I'm going to crack the filter housing loose. And then now we're going to have a listen to see if we can hear the oil rush into the crankcase. Well, I'm not sure if you heard that, but it totally did. So, I'm going to say thank you, Dave. That was a great advice, because, yeah, that fresh oil would have been contaminated with some dirty stuff. So we're going to bring this over to the bench, change out the filter and the stack up, all the O-rings, because it comes with that, and then we'll put that back in. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, and I've got a nice little tray to pick up all the oil. We're going to pull off the filter, just like that. And we can put that aside. And I don't need my receipt no more. And here we go. So we got our filter housing O-rings, and then we have the new filter. So we're obviously going to reinstall the the new filter the same way as the old one. And I always like to double check that it is in fact the correct one. So now we're gonna carefully remove the O-rings. So I like to start with the last one here, closest to the housing. Remove that one. Remove this little guy. So it's not terrible if you damage these O-rings on the way out, but it's really important that you don't damage them on the way in with the new ones. Just like that. And something else I like to do is I like to lubricate these O-rings before I install them with a little bit of fresh grease. So right over here I've got just I believe this is an NLG by number 1. It's a thinner grease. I forget what this is. I think it's a Castrol. But it does really good for getting these O-rings nice and ready to go. So start off with this one, trying to keep the filter fresh. Come to think of it, guys, it's probably a better idea to do the filter last. Then that way there you don't have anything dirty touching it, like some grease. I'm going to put that on. And then we're going to make sure, all the way around, that the O-ring isn't twisted, kinked, or anything like that, because that's super important when we reinstall it. And same thing with these guys. Starting with the larger one. Being careful not to cut it, twist it, or nick it. And it is a little bit difficult to do with gloves because gloves are slippery, but at least you don't get any absorption in your skin, because that's bad for your health. And if I knew I was going to live this long, I probably would have taken better care of myself.
He's 41.
Hey, did you just tell everybody how old I am? I mean, I'm pretty sure I've already said it, but yeah, I'm 41. Okay, so now we're going to give this filter housing a nice little wipe, and that's going to get reinserted and torqued. And the cool part about the torque is it's written right here, and it says 25 plus or minus 5 Newton meters. So we're going to do that. Filter going back in. Alright, so we've got my old-fashioned torque wrench. I actually had this calibrated when I was working for Heli Inter a long time ago. But if you're interested to know, this one actually says 25 Newton meters on this side, and it also says my inch-pound rating on the other side. So that happens to be about 227 inch-pounds. So there you go. And that's it. It's basically just snug, guys. I mean, I had it snug with just my wrench, and then it went like an eighth of a turn, something like that. Cool. So now we can pick it up, drain all the oil out, and then put some fresh stuff in there. Oh, and I should also mention, guys, if you guys have torque wrenches like this, always return it to the 0 position before you store it. That way there, your torque wrench will actually keep its calibration for a longer time. Okay, so, wrong size. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so in order to get access to the drain plug, we have to remove 3 screws that cover the bottom belly pan here. Oh, you're gonna hold the screws for me? Thank you. That's helpful. And we're just gonna take this down and out of the way. And here is our drain plug. At the very least, what I like about this is it's not like our Volkswagen Tiguan, which I love our Tiguan. I have a review on that, by the way. And the one thing I don't like is that the plug for the engine oil is plastic. So is the oil pan. Not a huge deal, because when you think about it, it's not a structural component of the engine. It's just, there's something about plastic. You know, like, I mean, this is a nice aluminum drain pan or oil pan, and we're going to just take out the oil right now and let it do its thing.
I'm sorry, but can I just take a second here? This setup for the oil change that he made is actually crazy. Like, this thing literally went up closer so that it doesn't make a spill, because you know he's gonna make a mess. So this way it won't. And it has a big enough bowl so it won't, like... Yeah, good job, Dad.
What?
Good job.
Oh, thank you. What are you doing?
I'm talking about your oil change setup.
Oh, this thing, yeah. Actually, that's because I'm too cheap. We were gonna buy one, but I had some stuff lying around that works, so I just welded up in a little wing nut over here so that it can go up and down, depending on the vehicle height I'm using. And yeah, I just had a a funnel, and yeah, just literally put it on wheels with a plate. It's pretty, basic, but it does the job. So.
Yep, good job.
Thanks. Okay, so we're gonna crack the drain. This is why this time I brought 2 wrenches. I thought for sure it was a 14, but it's a 13. So we're gonna crack this loose. And I'm gonna hold this where I want it because chances are this is gonna go flying. I'm gonna go on this side.
Guys, I got it on recording. I said he would.
And I had the engine running for quite a while. So the engine oil is going to be hot. Oh, which reminds me, I should probably put some gloves so I don't burn my hands. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to go on this side.
No, I can't see.
No, you can't. I just don't want you to get all splashed because it's going to fly. You know it.
We're just going to
There you go. That's probably safer. All right, let's go like this. And you don't want to lose the little crush washer that comes along with that. Yeah, when it gets tall, this little thing is a little bit on the flimsy side, but that's okay. All right, here we go. Oh, yeah. No mess. And I still have the crush washer, which, again, you should always replace. We're good. So while we have that oil draining, and I have it up on the lift, I always take a minute and I just look around. So earlier this year I had it up on the hoist, and I should have done the oil change then, but I did do a little bit of anti-rust proof, I guess you want to call it. So, I mean, it's looking okay. Exhaust system's still intact, everything is fine. Our hangers are all in place. Oh, and these are the pads I was talking about to secure the car. So there's one over on each corner. And yeah, they work really well because they're rubber and they don't slip. So I kind of find that really cool. So back here, because it's all-wheel drive, there's also this coupler that I like to inspect to make sure that there's no cracking on it anywhere. And it's all in good shape, which looks good. Don't see any leaks anywhere. You know, my brakes are going to be due soon. No, that was one thing I noticed when I changed my tires from summer to winter. But yeah, so far it's pretty good. And oh yeah, that's the noise I've been hearing. So looks like, okay, not sure if you see it in the camera, but our heat shield has rotten right through. And it's rattling up against the muffler. So we're gonna do a little bit of a DIY fix on that. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna poke a hole through here and here, and maybe do a little tie wrap of sorts, something like that. But we're gonna do that right now because, yeah, you don't necessarily hear it in the car, but when you have the car idling, and you're standing outside of it, you do hear it, and you can't have a Mercedes making noise like that. That's just not cool. So I've got a couple of holes drilled, and I'm just gonna, actually, I'm gonna drop this one on the ground because I have to do this with 2 hands and talk at the same time. It's hard to do. I mean, I can barely walk and chew gum at the same time, but anyway, that's a different story. So we're gonna just do this. Yeah, I know it's not the repair I would normally do. I mean, if I had time and I had the effort right now, I would have to drop this whole exhaust system to get to these studs, I guess, that are holding it in from the trunk lid. But at the end, what?
You didn't even pin it to the point that it's actually up.
No, the reason.
It's there.
Yeah, well, I'm not done. I'm not done. Patience, little grasshopper. I know you're learning. You're learning with me in the shop every time. That's why I got you filming for me. But yeah, so what I want to do is I want to center it between the two, and then I'll tighten them. So that's about centered there. So then I'll tighten one side. And then when that side starts pulling, and then come back to this side. And then finish up on the last side here. See, look at that. Tight like a tiger. Hopefully that's not copyrighted. But anyways, yeah, so I'm just going to cut these nice and flush so they don't hang down and look silly while you're driving. There you go. Okay, moving back to the front. Looks like it's almost done dripping. So we'll put the oil plug back in, start putting some fresh oil. So this is just about done. So what I'm going to do is, there's a little bit of dirt around the plug. I'm going to use a little bit. Okay, I did not plan that. Sorry guys, did I just lose that right down? I got another one.
Take two.
All right, I swear, I mean, if I got new subscribers and this is like the second or third video they watch from me, they'll be like, what in the world is... I don't do this. I don't do this normally, guys. I'm usually pretty professional. I try and make my videos start to finish. But yeah, what I was saying, yeah, well, it's the holidays. I'm probably, by the time this video gets filmed and edited, because this is just before Christmas and the holidays, it'll probably be around that time, somewhere between the holidays, Christmas and New Year's. So hopefully you'll have a good laugh while you're watching it. Anyways, let's carry on here. We're going to just remove any of the dirt that's around that so that when we put the plug back in, it seals properly and we're not going to have a leak. So the drain plug is nice and tight. I actually don't have the spec for you, so I'm sorry about that. You might have to check that out yourself. And don't forget to put this cover on, because it's happened to me where I've actually lowered the car, did the whole oil change, and realized that the cover was still lying on the ground somewhere or off to the side. So let's put it back on. And you always have to do like something like this after you put a panel on, because you have to make sure that it's on there. So now it's time to add some oil. So I always like to shake the jugs, because you don't want the whole additive package to be in the oil that you're pouring in and not stuck at the bottom of the jug. I'm using Platinum Euro from Pennzoil. It's a 5W40. I'm not sponsored by anybody for that matter, so it doesn't matter if I'm talking about the filter or whatever. These are all products that I purchased on my own. And the reason I use this oil is because right on the back, it actually lists Mercedes-Benz approval for the oil. There probably are more oils out there that are approved by the manufacturer to use, but this happens to be a decent price oil in my location, and it's on the shelf. I don't have to order it. But I'm going to open up that whole conversation in the comment section. What do you guys use as an oil? Because the last time I spoke on my last video about my favorite fuel stabilizer, wow, I got a whole bunch of different comments. Everybody has their own preference, and that's cool. So tell me, what do you use in your car and why? And that's the important part. Why do you use that oil? Is there a specific reason, or is price a big factor? Anyways, let's pour some oil in there. So the other thing I wanted to note is, while I'm pouring this oil in here, is this car takes about 6 liters. I think it's 5.9 to be exact. And I can only get these jugs locally in 5-liter jugs. So what I ended up doing, because I started servicing my own car after the warranty expired, and I just buy 2 now. So I have one that I pour in, and then I put the other. And after doing this for a little while, whoa, almost, is it gonna go? I was talking and I didn't pay attention. Oh no, I made a mess. So I didn't make a mess on the way out, but I made a mess on the way in.
All right.
See, that's what happens when you're distracted. What I was going to say, it's still a lot cheaper to do it yourself, even if you had to crawl underneath, maybe underneath, if you had a set of ramps or something like that, because the dealership in my area, it costs about $330. That's tax in for an oil change, a service A, as they call it. I had the oil on sale this time around, and one jug of oil was $48 out the door. The filter was, I think, another $40. So if you consider you have to buy two, I'll put the math on the screen here, it's still cheaper. And like I said, that second jug will technically last you 5 services. So yeah, I don't know. And there's that nice feeling of doing it yourself, knowing that you put that oil in, you did it all yourself, and you know what you did. I don't know. There's a satisfaction involved with that. And jug number 2. Alright, check the oil here. Wipe the dipstick clean. And we are right at the max level. So I might add a few more drops so that way there, when the filter housing gets full, during the operation of the engine, it's going to remain at the top level, because I like to have the top level of oil on the dipstick, because oil also helps cool the engine and do a whole bunch of other stuff. So otherwise, that's it. And that's it, guys. That is the oil change, and that is what I am giving my car this holiday season for the year. So Mercedes-Benz recommends about a year between services, or 20,000 kilometers. I think that's a long time between oil changes, so I think I have about 8,000, 8,500 kilometers on this oil change, and that's about as far as I would go. Otherwise, that's going to bring us to the end of the video, guys. Hopefully it was educational. Hopefully you liked it. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you did, consider subscribing, and a whole bunch of other outro stuff that I usually say. But more importantly, again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and if there's another holiday I forgot in there, like I mentioned earlier, I apologize. Happy Hanukkah maybe. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video.